Welcome to the Rocket Launcher podcast. This is episode 21. I am your host, Supreme King, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, and his name is...
It's your guy Omazis.
Yes, and Omazis is the one who finally bought I almost said God of War. I really almost said God of War. Gotham Knights. He bought it. Did you buy it day one, day two? He bought it when it first came out. Day two.
Day two.
This is his footage. It's going to be one of the first things that we talk about. We're going to talk about his impressions on this game. You're going to get the real impressions. It's not going to get fake checkmark impressions. And then afterwards, we're going to talk about Bayonetta, because when we talked about Bayonetta, either last episode or episode before, we were a little bit more positive on what we thought was, how should I say it? Based on the news that we were given at the very last minute, we reacted to that, but now we got a whole lot more news that we need to catch up on, and so we might be telling a different story. So we're going to talk about that. We got some other news. There's some news around Callisto Protocol. There's some news around The Witcher, and some news around God of War that we're going to probably get into all throughout this episode. So go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this out to a friend. But I'm over talking it. Let me let my co-host shine. He bought this game immediately when he could. I didn't buy it yet, so I'm going to shut up for majority of this because I don't know what I'm talking about yet. And we trying to be truthful over here. No shade. No shade to everybody else. But this is my co-host's footage. This is Gotham Knights in all of its glory. We done said so much like positive and negative on it. I had this other video where I was joking about this that I know has some bad feedback as well as good feedback, because I was trolling, and you saw, even in the thumbnail, you could tell I was trolling, and I was somewhat trolling my co-host a little bit because I didn't know my direction for that video. That was a couple weeks ago. I think it was called like Gotham Knights, Are You Still Getting It, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was something like that. It was a while back. It's finally out. It's here. My co-host did get it. So I'm giving you the floor. I over-talked it too much already. How do you like this game? Tell us about it.
I am enjoying this game. So you're going to see from some of this footage, I'm still getting used to the controls. It's a bit rough. You'll notice when I go to get like loot boxes, I'll punch it, is because I'm so used to hitting square for a loot box, and this one's X. Okay. But so I started thinking about this, and I mentioned before that I had to get out of the mindset of this is not Arkham, right? And I said it took me months to get through that mindset of this is not Arkham. So that day when it released, and I saw a bunch of videos from the early impression stuff, and yeah, I know some of them was hammed up a bit, but I saw early impression reviews, I saw reviews the day of, and I saw just like tweets about it and things like that, and I just kept looking, and all I kept seeing was people complaining 30 frames per second, which is a legit concern, right? It is a thing to complain about. But like,
I think we went there for some tongue-in-cheek earlier. It was tongue-in-cheek.
Okay. But like, for some people, if that is an issue for you, you're like, no, this is next-gen hardware. I want next-gen like graphics. Like, this ain't it for me. That's fine. Like, you can have that. But like, all I saw was 30 frames per second. It's not Arkham Combat. So every negative review, I haven't seen one negative review, even after the game is released. I've looked, and I can't find one that like really digs into why this would be a bad game without having to extensively talk about it's not Arkham or it's 30 frames per second. Like, even in the tweets where Gotham Knights was advertising the game, comments was like, 30 frames per second. And it was just like, that's really it for you? Like, okay. Like, I don't know. I've played games at 30 frames per second. We've played older games, and it's been fine.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to talk a lot about older games. Actually, next episode, I'm going to talk a whole lot, because I did a whole lot of things since the last recording that I'm going to get to there as far as old games. But yeah, go ahead.
So it's just, it was weird to me. And after I kept hearing that, and then some of the things that other people complain about, right, where they're saying, you know, you want to do the story missions, but before you do that, you have to go do side quest, and you have to like get information, and then go to this area and get more information, and then grab this little thing, and get this little doodad, and then you get to do the main mission, and you're locked behind some level stuff, and you have to craft, and you have to get loot and new suits, and you know everything is just generically with numbers. So like this suit's better than this suit just because of the number, uh, and that type of stuff. And when I would hear people complain about that in my head, I was like, okay, but also that just sounds like Borderlands, and I like Borderlands, especially 2.
Mm-hmm.
I have my issues with 1, but 2 is great. And that's what that is too. You go around, you do fetch quests, missions are locked based around level for zero reason, and then like this gun's better than this gun just because the numbers say so. It's the same thing. So when I hear also people say like it got stuck with the what's that called? The like pay to win mechanics, like the live service mechanics, like Marvel Avengers, where they say it got stuck with the live service mechanics. I think we forget live service mechanics were RPG mechanics that they just started making you pay for. Right? And like earlier games, that's what you do. You unlock suits, you unlock abilities, you throw random gear on your person, and then out of nowhere they just started saying, no, you could buy that instead. And then it was like, well, now the only way you can get it is buy it. And
But
maybe this game did live service elements, and because Avengers did bad, they removed the live service elements of the paying, but it's still an RPG.
I also want to just say real quick, isn't some of those elements what made Skyrim such a game that people just literally just cannot stop playing? Like, exactly. And some people just they strive. Like I know someone who wanted a better computer simply to play Skyrim with mods and stuff. Like that was her sole reason, right? And so, yeah, I think when it's overdone is when I get annoyed. But
yes, and I haven't because I'm still at the beginning of this game. We'll see by Thanksgiving time if I am like, okay, it is too much. Okay. By this point in the beginning, because like I'm such a big, like I'm a DC fan, and to be honest, I like the other members of the Batman family, for the most part, for most of them, more than I like Batman. Like Batman's cool, but like I like Red Hood, I like Nightwing, I like Batgirl, I like Tim Drake, I like Cassandra Cain, and a bunch of these other characters that are in the family that never get a spotlight, really, because it has to be Batman, Batman, Batman. And this one's not Batman. And some of the other complaints that I saw for the game, they're like, this is stupid, just give us another Batman game. And in my head, I'm like, you have 4. You have Asylum, City, Origins, and Night. Like, you have 4 Batman games. And you're like, they've like, let's focus on the other family. No, that's dumb. Just give us more Batman.
Yeah, man, they can go all the way back to the PS2 and play the Batman Begins game.
Yeah, there we go. But so as you see it in the video, there are a couple times I think where you could see the frame rates drop. I will say while playing, I didn't notice it. Like I've noticed the frame rate drops here, like watching it back. But while playing, I didn't catch it at all. I didn't like.
Yeah, I also think that's a good thing to bring up, because there's a difference between somebody watching and somebody playing. If you're playing, you're more immersed to the point where that doesn't really bother you as much. Because I remember when I was playing Arkham City, I didn't pay attention to that much. And I will say, from looking at your footage even before I did scan through it a little bit, I do notice that the AI is not as like they're not as aggressive and not as like responsive as they probably should be, maybe in 2022. Yep. That might be one of the biggest things that I can complain about just from what I've seen. Yeah. There are moments where they look a little slow or a little clunky too.
Yeah. And if you remember, that was also one of my big issues before. When I first started talking about the game. As you notice, I just rolled up on them shooting. But like,
Yeah.
that was something that I also complained about before. And again, I'll be able to talk more about this closer to Thanksgiving because I did hear that the higher level you go, the more responsive the enemies are. Like they're this way because you're still at the beginning.
Yeah.
Uh, is what I've heard. So we'll have to see if that's like true or not. But like in the game, like storyline wise, you do feel immersed in this thing. Like there's a whole when you go back to the belfry in the morning, there's like a board that you keep adding more information to as you gather evidence and stuff. That's like tying all this stuff together while you're in the streets patrolling.
Mm-hmm.
You can interrogate people, especially like the last enemy. You can grab them and interrogate them. And sometimes you start getting information about premeditated crimes that are going to happen. So when you go out on patrol, you can go stop that crime. But if you go back to the belfry for the night, the crime disappears because it's like it already happened. You didn't address it then.
Mm.
Is the idea. So you do have to like you get certain side missions that happen specifically because you're tracking premeditated crimes. Um, you also have like health packs and like a health bar, and as you're going throughout the night, you have to like use your health packs as you can. And when your health gets too low and you run out of health packs, you need to head back to the belfry, and that ends the night's patrol. So it's not like an unlimited night patrol unless you're just not taking hits.
Yeah.
So there's that as well. Well, the combat's fine. Like it's not Arkham. Would it have been better if it was Arkham? Sure. But it's not. And for what it is, it's fine. You got your heavy attacks, your ranged attacks, your melee attacks, and a nice dodge. And then your grapple hits is great. Like especially playing as Red Hood, I loved a lot of his moves. Like he does a power bomb on people. That's just great to see in the middle of a fight.
Yeah.
Robin I've played as, and he does this like staff move where he just basically just wails on him like the noggin gets a flogging. Like he just goes at him with the staff. And
Now, I have a question.
Yeah.
With Red Hood, I believe before the main thing that ticked you off on him was his air jumping ability. Like, do you have this unlocked yet, or did they remove it, or is that still there?
Oh, it's still there. So the
Okay.
one thing is all those cool traversal things that you see, by
Yeah.
cool I'm using that in quotation. So like the gliding or the teleporting thing that Robin does, or his fart jump, you unlock that by it's these other challenges where you get like knighthood, where you're like the spec like you completed like their missions to like fully level up, and that's where you like unlock the ability to do that stuff. So it does take some work to get that stuff. Until then, you're just kind of motorcycle and ziplining.
And also, he shoots non-lethal rounds. Like
Yes.
Okay.
But I do want to talk about this part
Because I saw, even within the footage just now, you shot somebody in the face and then ran up on them and hit them, and it's like in my head, if you shoot somebody that close range, you would probably kill them. But I guess it's non-lethal rounds.
No. So because he's working with the team and everything, he's promised to pretty much go non-lethal.
Okay.
Whereas in like I don't know in Arkham Knight, and again I'm not doing this as a comparison thing, but like Arkham Knight, if you play as Red Hood in some of the AR challenges, he is all lethal. Like when you do a ranged attack where you would normally throw the batarang, he pulls the gun out, he shoots, the person's down. That's it. They're not getting back up. Like you can take them all out by just shooting. But in this game, they're non-lethal. They made a point of it being non-lethal. But as you see, so really quick here, there was like an attack, and I'm scanning the scene looking for evidence, and I have to try and connect certain things together to figure out where this next attack is going to go down. To be able to stop it. So you have to do some like investigation stuff. So you're looking at tags for like the different gangs that are out, like the freaks, and then like this certain weapon, and then you realize, one of their leaders like ended up breaking out for the night. And it's just a complete little like not even an important side quest. It's just something I just came across. And then it was like, oh, here's a premeditated attack. Like, go stop it. So that part's been good. But the Red Hood thing. So there's a part where I'm fighting on the roof, and I grab the person and I just throw him, and it throws them off of the roof. And you
Okay.
see them like flail and then hit the ground. And
Oh,
you can
so it's no Spider-Man type of like, oh, they fixed at the last second. They actually hit the ground, hit the ground.
hit the ground. And you
Oh
can
shoot.
scan people to see like their condition. So like certain people, like those two guards that I was trying to save, and one of them it registered as dead, and the other one it registered as unconscious. And the enemies, as you fight them, always register as unconscious. So I threw the dude off of the roof, and you could see the way he positioned and fell on the ground. He dead. But like I scanned it, it was like unconscious, and I was like,
Okay.
okay, yeah, permanently unconscious, sure. So that part was really
Dang.
oh, when I did it. Red Hood has been fun to play as. I think I had the most fun with Red Hood. Uh,
So another
another.
thing,
Oh, good.
I'm sorry, I'm just gonna ask one quick question. So is there blood in the game? It doesn't look like there's no blood in the game, right?
None that I noticed.
So no blood. Okay.
Yeah, no. But also, I don't think you're. Well, I think some of the enemies get a little bloody when, like, they're just like positioned on the ground already and
Hmm.
things like that. But it's nothing like extra noticeable. No. Um.
Was this rated T
I
or
will
was
say,
it M? I think it's T,
I
right?
think it's T.
It's
It's
probably
T.
T.
It's not going to be
Okay.
a lot of blood. So what I will say too, the city looks great, right?
Okay.
It does look great. Like everything looks great. There's little Easter eggs for like a lot of stuff. Um, you got the different boroughs. It does feel lived in, and you can drive through them and everything. So like here, I've solved this crime, and now I'm heading to where the crime's taking place to go like stop them.
Okay.
But I will also say, so one of my favorite aspects of this is the fact that all the characters do level up together. So, um, as Red Hood, if I gained like 3 levels, every character gains 3 levels. So if I want to switch to a new person, they get new suits and everything to match them for the artifact, for the numbers and everything. So they're not just like having super weak gear or anything like that.
So they
Uh,
they
it,
they basically level out everybody. So is it set up where you play the game through multiple times, or you switch between each person as you go?
so I've been switching between each person as I go just to get a feel of everybody and who I feel like would be appropriate for the mission. Because interactions for like the cutscenes, like the different bosses, they play out differently depending on who you are.
Oh, okay.
Um, which and this one is not really a spoiler because they've like shown it in like YouTube videos. But basically, there's a part, of course, Harley Quinn's in the game, and if
Okay.
you're Nightwing or if you're Robin, the conversation you have comes off different.
Okay.
Um, so like this game does take place with like pretty much Tim Drake's new being Robin. Um, so my interaction, I chose Tim Drake to interact with Harley Quinn. And he didn't really know her, but I figured because she was supposed to be like smart, and then he's like the new Robin. She recognizes a Robin costume, and he could recognize her genius and everything. That they would have a fun banter, like interaction, and it was a fun mission. Like I liked it. So none of the mechanics right now to me have overstayed their welcome. I'm used to loot stuff. I'm used to RPG mechanics, things like that. So I do think the game does get a lot of unfair criticism. Now, um, what I will say is for other people going to get this game, if you're not a fan of RPG mechanics, right? If you're not a fan of having to like, well, I already got this outfit on, but now I have to put this new outfit on because the numbers are higher.
Hmm.
Um, or if you're not a fan of like you have to do side quests, like they're not optional. Like you can't just main mission, main mission, main mission, main mission. You gotta do these side quests in order to level up and things like that. If you're not a fan of those mechanics, you will not like the game. Which is fair.
So
Those mechanics aren't for everybody. So you will
I'm
not like the
somewhere in the middle. Like I can tolerate side missions and stuff here and there. It was little things that the outfits thing kind of comes
game.
off silly to me. It just kind of does.
Yeah.
Even though I
No.
still play it, we still play it. Like it's still it doesn't seem realistic in my opinion.
Okay.
That's just how I
So I
look at it.
will say this one, I think explain like I don't change outfits mid mission like I do in every other game.
Yeah.
I've decided for this one I keep what I got until I go back to the belfry. So the idea is you do your night patrol, and whenever you go back to home base, it's now daytime, and that's where you're just
Okay.
like preparing for the next night. And that's where you can switch who you are. So like when you go out on patrol, you're that person for the night. And you can't switch until you go back to home base.
But
Which I like.
so the question, so you really do have to go back, or does the people have the option to switch like right here where you're
Nope,
standing or
you
running?
have to go back in order
You
to
have
switch.
to
So I
go
can't
back.
now
Okay.
switch tonight. Yep. So I have to go back to the Belfry to switch. I'm stuck as Red Hood for this entire patrol until I go back.
Okay.
Which for me it's fine. I'm like I like that because it's just this is the person I chose. Let's go. Because like all you got to do instead of just going straight to a story mission, do a few little like just run into a few little like gang members and everything. And if you're not liking the combat, go back to the Belfry now and switch like who you are, like right away. So that part's fine. But yeah, if you're not a big RPG person, like for you, I would actually say you might like this game better in the co-op form, where you're not just
Okay.
at it alone. Um,
I do still plan to get it and play it. I
yeah.
remember like the criticism we had at the last minute was when the 30 FPS news came out. It wasn't so much the 30 FPS. If I remember, our criticism was why is it still $70 on
Yes.
console, if I remember correctly, because which is the same thing we've been asking for so many other games now, even a game we're going to talk about later on. So just for the record, you bought this on the PS5 over the PC.
Yes, I did.
And so you paid the full price.
Yep.
Mhm.
I knew I was
Okay.
going to play it on PS5, so I went ahead and did the full price thing
Okay.
for it. So yeah, I just figured why not? Like whatever. I feel like I'm gonna enjoy it for what it is. As a big DC fan, it doesn't feel like a waste to me. It also
Okay.
doesn't feel like a game that you really want to like 10-hour playthrough, like sort of thing. I feel like if you pace yourself, does become less repetitive. And I know when people say like it becomes repetitive for the combat, technically, Arkham combat is repetitive too, right? You press triangle to dodge and you press square to hit. Like
Right.
the fighting, like this type of game, it's gonna be repetitive combat. So you just don't play it like for hours, like too many hours on it, and you'll be okay. Or like while you're doing it, take breaks, enjoy the city, go like look at stuff.
And you plan on playing this multiple times to get through each person. I think
I'm
that's
thinking
something you
about
said
it. So
before.
like once I get through it again, I'll have that super judgment by like Thanksgiving. If
Okay.
I do plan on doing it for multiple times, part of me wants to because I want to see how the interactions differ, for different characters, with the different bosses.
Okay.
So I think that would be fun to see. So yeah, but I'm enjoying it. I do think for like other people, like you will, I think a lot of people will like it. Just wait for a sale. Like I would honestly say, yeah, wait for a sale. If you're like a mega DC fan like me, maybe not like too much of a sale. Like,
There
but I would wait for a sale. But I would say don't write this off solely because it is not Arkham.
I just remember their initial gameplay showing of this when they revealed everybody having their way of like the hovercraft or whatever like for Nightwing. I don't know why in my head I was about to say Rocky. I don't even know why. But Nightwing, and then like what you say is the fart jump. I remember that was such a negative showing that it almost killed the game. That one showing, and then my tongue in cheek over it was that it kind of looked like a mobile game in a way. And here it looks like they fixed the graphics a little bit. It's a little bit more polished, but it does still come off a little stiff from what I can see.
Yeah.
It's still a little stiff. They're not like full Play-Doh like before, but I remember like the way it looked before. It was almost laughable. It was to the point where I almost just like threw this game away completely.
Yeah,
But
it is stiff. It is a little stiff. I will say though, it is not as much as it looked like it. It
okay,
is not very button mashy. Like if
okay,
you button mash, you're gonna get hit. Because the idea is you have to like dodge, and you build a momentum meter by doing perfect dodges and everything. So like dodging at the right time. But if you, it's almost like I think the way they describe too for like a lot of the Dark Souls games will do this, where basically if you press square 3 times and then you're trying to dodge because the enemy's about to hit you after 2 times, like no, that third square is going through before you dodge. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
right, like it's gonna take the input that you put in fully. So if you're
Yeah.
just like quickly pressing the punch button like over and over, it's gonna take that. So if an
Yeah,
enemy
you
runs up
can't
to
button mash in Souls games.
circle, nope. Yeah, so you do want to carefully plan stuff out. Some of the big, like the big enemies with the giant shield, they're very annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but hopefully I should be able to handle them like sooner, better with Red Hood. One of his abilities lets him grapple the big guys, which the other people can't.
How would
Uh,
you say the size of this map is compared to, let's say, Arkham Knight?
Bigger than Arkham Knight. It's more reminiscent of Spider-Man.
Okay.
Yep, I would say it's a lot more reminiscent of
As in
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 2018, right?
Yes,
Okay.
2018. Where um the different cities have a slightly different, like different areas have a slightly different look to it. Whereas like for Spider-Man, right, it was like you had your more city looking area, your college town area, and then your borough area, like neighborhood, things like that. That's how this is, where the different places have like either like a gothic sort of like look where everything looks like old school 1800 castles, and then you got this one like under construction, all snowy, and everything. So like, the looks are much different. It's a nice size map. I haven't like gone through the whole thing yet.
Okay.
And I know it's like it's not as live as Spider-Man, but then you also have to remember it's Gotham and people aren't just gonna be out at night like randomly outside of bad people.
Mm-hmm.
That does kind of play that up, and you can't really go outside during the day because that's not what these characters would do.
Right.
Stealth attack. So
The only
yeah,
other thing that I would probably ask, because I remember also from that one showing, when you were beating up somebody in that showing, like once you cleared all the guys, there was like a number or something that came on top of their head. Like I don't know if you remember that, but I guess it's gone because I haven't seen that with you at all. Where that's what made it look like a mobile game the most. Where it was just like once you completed an objective or something, it was just like something that just gave you the like hooray you did it like above your head. I don't know if you remember that.
yeah, no, it's bottom corner now. Like so,
It's in the
what'll
bottom
happen is just
corner.
you got like here's all the crafting gear, or here's the like level stuff you now have. So it's still sort of there because again, you need to pick up stuff to craft, make better suits and everything. Um, I will say in comparison to Marvel's Avengers,
Mm-hmm.
because that also had like a loot system too. One of the biggest complaints for Marvel's Avengers was the fact that like you're supposed to equip all this new gear, new stuff, and then you just look the same. This one, the gear comes with specific suit styles, and the weapons
Okay.
look different as you equip new weapon types. So like for Red Hood, they're always guns, but like the style of the gun looks different. So as you equip new things, you do have new looks, and each outfit has like 3 versions of it. Like the style of the outfit will be like the True Knight or Noir or things like that, and then each one has a mix and match of like 3 specific styles, and then you can get new colors as well if you want to. Um, you can also edit the bat cycle and things like that.
Okay.
Which for me, that's really the more fun way to get around is the bat cycle.
On his motorcycle.
Um, yeah, because it's what, and to be honest, it is what I wanted from Arkham Knight. Where it was like we wanted the Batmobile in there. I just wanted to drive around in it. I didn't need every mission to revolve around.
Yeah, I remember it was like somewhat of an overkill. That's what everybody
Yeah.
was saying.
But yeah,
Okay.
so my first impressions for this one is I'm enjoying it. If you're a DC fan, you'll definitely like it. If you're an RPG, action RPG sort of fan, you'll like it as well. Maybe wait for it to be on sale.
They
Because I
won't
don't think
have to wait that long because
it does.
with Thanksgiving being right around the corner, like a lot of games that come out right before it, they usually take that initial like cut. Like I would imagine this game, even with it being 70 on the next gen systems, they might be 45. That's usually where they put it. It's like 45 is that sweet spot
Uh-huh.
for anything that came out in September or October, like right before Black Friday, because
Yeah. Well,
everybody's scooping on Black Friday.
if you're
I'm definitely one of them. So
if you're a DC fan and if you're a action RPG, more importantly, fan, then 45 I think is a good price. If you're like a little more iffy on it, I'd probably say wait a little bit cheaper, like maybe a little like 35, 30. Um, but overall, yeah, I think a lot of the all this thing is horrible is either hamming it up or really, really just mad that it is not Arkham. And I feel like the developer said it's not Arkham, so I don't think it's fair to solely say the game's bad because it's not Arkham. When the first thing they told you was it's not Arkham. Like they said that right away. It was like it's not an Arkham universe, it's not Arkham.
I think an interesting thing though, because just for me and the channel, there were two games that were like games where everybody was second guessing them or saying it was trash, and everybody was pretty much like, I'm not going to get this. Now, one of the games one of us got, you got Gotham Knights. The other game, though, was Saints Row. And it was technically big deals on the channel, technically, in the beginning, because I didn't have too much content outside of like the ever expanding God of War versus Elden Ring video. But like, it's just for anybody who really took my channel serious. I guess if they looked at it, I did a lot of content on both games, and like basically like wiped my hands with it because I was like, well, the games are not necessarily up to par yet. Now this one, you're selling me on this a little bit more, but I don't like, I'm not want to really try to put you on the spot, but would you explain maybe why you still gave this one a chance over Saints Row when they kind of both got like I think Saints Row still got like way more bad rap though. But
Yeah. So there's two reasons why I gave it more of a chance.
okay.
One is just because I'm a DC fanboy.
Okay.
So like these characters are really, really interesting to me. And it's people that I've been wanting to play as for a really long time, more specifically Red Hood and Nightwing.
Okay.
Uh, so it's like the fact that I finally get to play them, it's like, yeah, this is what I want to do because the closest I could play as Red Hood was either Arkham Knight or Injustice. Like that was it.
Right.
So that was part of the reason. Whereas there wasn't really like a character in Saints Row where it's like that's my person. Like I can't wait to play.
Yeah, technically there you got to make everybody, so it wouldn't even
Yeah.
be that. And the
Second
one
reason,
black girl with the cannon or the rocket launcher, I should say.
yeah,
She turned everybody off. That was that was the
yeah,
whole thing. So it was like you had a made up character that technically wasn't, that was a created character, and that character turned everybody off. I will say for myself, because yeah, I didn't get neither game yet. I do still want to give both games a chance, but I will say if this was Power Rangers, I probably would have been day one as well.
yeah.
'Cause as much as you probably is a DC fanboy, I'm probably a Power Ranger fanboy, at least for the original first 5, 6
You know I
seasons.
am too.
So that probably would have forced my hand, despite no matter what everybody was saying. I just, at the very least, if it was just really that bad, I just would have been offline and just not
Yeah,
shown footage. But I probably still would have had it. I would have
probably
still
won't
bought it.
be good as a Power Rangers fan. I honestly think half of the issues with it is just the fact that it's Batman, but not Batman Arkham.
Yeah,
So I think if it was a different, like if this was the Ninja Turtles or Power Rangers under the same mechanics, it wouldn't have gotten as much
yeah.
heat.
And Saints
Um,
Row got more heat because of the whole idea of like war on woke culture or something.
yeah. So that was going to be my second point. Was the other reason why I did choose this one over the other is when I heard about this game and I watched this game. This is also the part where I throw somebody off of the roof after just stepping on someone's head.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, it still look like it got some brutal moments, for anybody who
yeah,
really want the hardcore. Like that kind of is brutal. You just didn't
So
see
yeah,
blood, but yeah.
I'm gonna say. So basically, while this is playing, because I'm just lost in this scene. This is one of my favorite scenes that I did.
Hold up a second. I think somebody at my door. Keep talking. Let me I'm gonna just mute myself and I'm gonna go see what's happening. My bad.
Okay.
My
But
bad, y'all.
before I bring that up, yeah, just looking at this scene here, because I really want to see what would happen if I threw this dude off the roof. Grab him, I throw him, he falls, he on the ground still, and then when I scan, it was just he's fine. He's just unconscious. He's just unconscious, just like her. I stepped on her face, she's just unconscious. She's unconscious. She's fine. She's fine. They're fine. They're alive. They're fine. But yeah, so yeah, if this was like Power Rangers or if this was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I don't think it would have gotten as much heat. It would have gotten a lot more praise. And honestly, the heat just comes from the fact that it's not Arkham. But I will say for my other point of why I chose this one over is when I looked at reviews and everything for this, those were the main two complaints: 30 frames per second and not Arkham. The story was praised. Some of the moments between the characters was praised, and that's like, so it's like a good story, decent mechanics, and just not what everybody wanted. I'd try it out, especially because I like story-based games. I did watch Saints Row, some gameplay. Shout out to It's Real 85, one of my favorite channels to like watch play games. The dude's funny. But I was watching him play Saints Row, and just some of the story and the dialogue just really was just like, extra cringe and not in a fun way. And I just did not want to see that and play that. Like watching his playthroughs, even with him being super funny about it, that's what made it look fun, was his commentary. So Saints Row, I was really thinking like maybe I'll try that out when it's like 20, and like maybe if they add a bunch of stuff, I might, but it is like far off of my radar just from the gameplay that I watch. There isn't a character that I could really feel like I really want to see, along with the mechanics looking a little like stiff and the story not looking good, right? And I need at least a good story. I need at least a good story to pull me in. So, not a good story. I can't do it.
I'm back now. I'm
I don't
not
know how
sure.
much you heard.
I didn't hear any of it. I'm so sorry. I gotta just tell you exactly what just happened.
Okay.
I don't know if everybody heard the banging. I will apologize. You know what's funny about it? Because I gave her an extra minute of my time because the girl was cute. But let me tell you something, dog. Let me tell you something, bro. It was somebody selling Verizon. You know how they got some of them on the knocking. I'm like, yo, like this ain't. It's almost like it's off the record. It's like I gotta get it out of my system real quick. Like, don't do that. Like, don't send the people to the houses. But at the same time, she was cute and she was working her way. I was like, dog, I know she ain't interested. And I know the game. I know the game. But she was really trying. I was just like, yo, like, get on. It was a cute little black girl. But
no.
At the same time, I'm like, yo, I'm working right now. She was like, what time you get off work? I'm gonna come back. I'm like, no, I'm working late. I'm working all day. I'm working for YouTube, y'all. Understand, I'm doing this for y'all. I could have got some. Never mind. All right, I am back. I'm not switching to Verizon.
Yeah, the super short version of what I said was that for this game, for Gotham Knights, the combat seemed okay but stiff, and the story still looks good.
Now you're early on in the story though, right? You're still
But even from the reviews I saw, they said the story's good and the interactions between players is nice and things like that.
Okay.
Whereas for Saints Row, I watched It's Real 85. Shout out to him. Play through some of that, and his commentary is funny. But like everything that I saw from there, the combat looked bad. There was bugs because he got crashes while he was playing, and the only thing that felt fun was his commentary. Like the story felt And I was gonna give it a chance, even with the woke stuff. But the story
Mm-hmm.
felt good. The characters didn't seem likable, and it's like I need at least a good story for me to give
Yeah, I
the game
think even with
a try.
Gotham Knights, did nobody really crapped on the side characters, the story, or anything the same way they did on Saints Row. Like, if
Yeah,
I didn't see that like that much. It
so
was
that's
just,
where I didn't get Saints Row.
yeah. With this game, it was more the performance, and then like, yeah, Batman not being there. With Saints Row, it was just like all this stuff that's considered political, and like everything that's like, okay, it's not the original, nobody looks like gangsters or anything like that. So yeah, it's funny, like, I still gotta say this real quick, like, I don't know if, did you hear the knock? Because I'm gonna be honest, y'all, I gave y'all priority, I ignored it, but the girl didn't go away. I don't know if y'all heard the knock, because she actually stood out there for a couple minutes. It's like, yeah, this is a better microphone. I don't know if it picked it up, but all I know is I heard, I was like, what is that? Like, at first I thought it was the mailman, and I was just like, okay, maybe he had the knock because he left a package. And in my head, I'm like, could it wait an hour? Because I'm not really in a terrible neighborhood. It was like, and I don't think anybody gonna come get the package. And then the person just knocking, and I'm just like, homie, who is that? And I didn't know if you heard it, and I was just like, okay. Like, I know it ain't nobody that know me. Ain't nobody opened the door. Ain't nobody who got a key and access. So I'm like, okay, who is that in my head? But I'm like, I don't want to get up because we do it. This is important, YouTube. Hit the like button. I was like, this is important. I didn't order nothing. I'm like, I didn't order no food. I didn't order no Amazon, nothing. So I'm like, who is this? That's what I was like, okay, I'm going to get up. But then she just like, she was way more persistent. So I'll say she kind of good. And I was just like, yo, she was kind of good looking too, YouTube. I'm sorry, she was. I was like, you know what? But the podcast got to keep going. I'm not going to feed into
She
it.
offered to come back later. You could
And
have
she
got her
offered to come back
back.
later. And I was just like, I can't because of X, Y, and Z. Because we was going to record. We was going to play. We was going to get more footage. We was going to do all this stuff. I thought about YouTube first. I thought about it first, y'all. I put y'all first. Bros over, yeah. So, yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, I like it.
We gave.
I like it.
So Gotham Knights has been going. We gave it like 40 minutes of this. So you're telling people to buy, wait for a sale if it's not their mechanics. I'm probably gonna get it. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it right away because I still want to finish all the stuff that I have. One of the games that I am going to get right away was going to be God of War. I guess we could move on. I do want to mention one thing for God of War real quick. And I don't want to scare anybody away because there was some news that came out and it was going to be in the title, but I'm not going to elaborate on it. I'm just going to tell you what happened and what to avoid. But apparently God of War's story was leaked. And it got leaked apparently by a person who got a review copy who just decided to be rogue. Like, I don't know too much detail, so don't worry. I'm not going to spoil anything because I myself didn't even look at spoilers. I didn't look at anything. But I heard that the story, it was leaked. I saw the fanboys was getting on here and saying it was an Xbox person. It was kind of an eye roller moment because it's like, okay, it was a reviewer. I don't know who. I don't know the much details on it, but I'm pretty sure with the way Sony has been with their products and stuff lately, somebody gonna get dealt with at some point. But for anybody else, just we're so late in the game, and that's going to be coming out so soon that I would just say, just don't really look up anything God of War, and just play it when it comes out because it's right around the corner. It is a game that I want to get right away. I think I'm going to look for a Best Buy version because they usually do steelbooks, but that's probably the game that I'm probably going to get day one. and play. I'm not gonna play it until Christmas time because then I'll have like real time off to play it. But yeah, that is a game that I think I want to get day one. Obviously, I'll have to for my channel. But yeah, so yeah, man, it was spoilers. People leaked it. I don't know what's going on. That's probably, maybe we could talk about it briefly as just like an overall thing with Sony, because before it was like the Last of Us situation, but I'm pretty sure there was another game somewhere here and there. Like their stuff had been getting leaked lately, like a lot. And
Yeah, it's I feel like somebody on the inside is doing it on purpose to try and generate buzz. But like,
yeah,
that's annoying. Like, I don't know. I don't like. I get it. The Last of Us 2 leak, right? That like stopped.
yeah. There's a much bigger story with the Last of Us 2 one with all the employees and stuff. Like it almost
Yes.
made sense hearing from it, but we don't know if this one, like, it was because of that type of situation either, because it wasn't really reported on. The most that we heard was that it was a review copy. But at least from what we've also learned, no spoilers on the story whatsoever, but apparently you're still going to get a nice lengthy game
Oh, that's good.
where I think if you were someone who was hunting for a platinum trophy, it's not going to just be handed to you like Ratchet and Clank or something. Like you're going to actually work for it a little bit and you're going to do a lot of stuff. So that's good or bad depending on how you look at it. If you were somebody who was annoyed with Valkyries or something, then maybe it might be bad for you. If you like that challenge, then this probably is great for you. But I think its biggest criticism on the 2018 version, which was my criticism, was that there wasn't a lot of enemy variations. And I think I heard that that has been addressed. So that was their biggest thing for me. And so you should see a very good game out of this. And yeah, stick away from spoilers. Get that game for Christmas or whatever. That's when I'm gonna get it. Or I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it before Christmas. I'm gonna just walk in there when I get. I'm gonna get it out of Walmart or something and get groceries if I can't get a steelbook version.
I plan
But
on doing the same,
yeah,
and then I'll
so
play it by Christmas. But because
yeah,
I just want to dedicate time to it. So when I have that Christmas,
yeah,
time,
it's
oh
so cool because like around Christmas time for me, um, I eat soul food, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna just tell you that. So it's usually
yeah,
like, yeah, you play some games for a little while, then you have your soul food and some pop and stuff, and then you play the game a little bit longer, and then you get some cookies and stuff, and it's a whole nother experience. You're not worried about getting up early for work the next day. At least for my situation, I usually get like that one little week off from like Christmas to New Year's. I don't know if anybody gets that little time off, but I always tend to have that time off, and that's when I want to play it. Yeah. So, how you feel about the leaks, man? You think they're gonna leak something else? I don't know. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
I feel like if you're leaking the behind the scenes information, like this is all the bad stuff, people disagree and things like that.
hmm The
Yeah,
crunching, like so with
yeah,
Last of Us, it was crunch culture and stuff too.
yeah.
I
Exposing
remember.
bad business practices. It's like yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
If even with the story stuff being leaked, yes, that there's a lot of people who just like, oof, like good thing I'm not getting this. Still would have preferred if it. I don't know. I feel like it shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
Uh, but then a lot more people would have probably been disappointed. I don't like the idea. It's just like here's this good story. It's just like and ruined. Like don't ruin it for yourself. Like I already
Yeah.
get. I plan on going to see a movie and like all right. So when I go to, I like going to the movie, but I don't like being by other people. So I don't like going to a packed movie. So I'm always going to like the morning and things like that. When like no, I know
Yeah.
no one else is there. I hate it when like if I'm scrolling through social media, I'm gonna call them out. Comicbook.com does this a lot. They'll just start posting spoilers.
Let me say this real quick because you mentioned that, and I think we can segue to the next topic with it for a second. But comicbook.com immediately spoiled this past Spider-Man movie, and I
Yeah,
haven't seen it yet for that reason. It
that's
was
crazy.
like
But
every day that they said so. It was like, yeah, it was kind of like the worst kept secret a little bit, but at the same time, it was just like, but they outright just put everything. They even had some screenshots. I'm like, ain't this like breaking like certain rules or whatever? And I was so done with it to the point where I actually unfollowed comicbook.com like on my platforms and stuff so I don't see their stuff.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of sick of seeing it, and then they were a little tasteless with the clickbaity stuff too, because they even did it with people's deaths, and I didn't like that either. It was like, why are we clickbaiting somebody dying? Like, of course we gonna hear the news.
Like, they'll even do this on a show when they spoil things, even if they call themselves not spoiling it. They'll be amazing. It'll be like, blank returns from the dead to get revenge, and it's like, all right, well, the show only had 2 people who died, and only one of them died angrily. So I know who's coming back. Like, it's like, come on, are you serious? And then they'll have like their picture there, and it's just like, stop spoiling stuff. Like,
so
it just came out. Like, they'll spoil it the day of, and it'll be like the morning of, and it's like, homie, like, cut that out. So it's just, I hate that.
Comic book, like if you was following comic book and you couldn't see Spider-Man that opening weekend, it was like, forget about it. It was like that next Monday, it was like everything. They ran it like clockwork. It was just story after story after story. It was just like
spoil wrestling. Like my bro, like if he had to work when they had wrestling, it's like Sunday nights for the pay-per-view, and if he had to work Sunday night, he can't watch it till Monday, and he'll stay out of like the wrestling groups. But if he just scrolls social media for a second, comicbook.com would be like, this person won the Royal Rumble, and it's like, oh, thanks. Like you didn't even try to hide it, or you didn't even say like, click here to see who won the Royal Rumble. Like, you just straight up said who it was, and it was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I unfollowed the right people. And there's other ones too. It's just, I know theirs is egregious. That's what comes to mind. But so I think I know what you're going to segue into.
But before I segue, I'll say real quick, sir, my bad for spoiling Brock Lesnar beating John Cena at SummerSlam, because I know that's why you unfollowed me way, way back there. Keep it all off the record, but yeah, on the record, because I know he probably gonna listen to this. My bad. My bad. All right. I was gonna segue real quick to Spider-Man, because we mentioned Spider-Man. I was just gonna say real quick because Spider-Man 2 might come out in 2023. Was that like a thing?
They're saying for sure. Oh, which always scares me whenever they say for sure. So people were calling him out because they're like, yo, you haven't really had any Spider-Man news as of late. Like no more trailers, nothing like that. And they were like, hey, it takes a lot of resources, coordination, timing, and effort, but we are making sure that this thing comes out in 2023. Is what Insomniac is saying.
Okay.
So
that'd be interesting if they're that good, because one thing that I always heard is that like Insomniac is now considered like the top studio for PlayStation, or the top studio period, is what a lot of people would think. And I know this might sound controversial, but I almost would have to put Capcom ahead of them. And I know that's going to be like, what? But the thing is, you got to hear me out. Capcom was still spitting out more games that were still high profile that people really wanted. And it wasn't just Resident Evil, but when you look at Resident Evil, they're still popping out a whole bunch of Resident Evil games on a much more timely matter. But then also Monster Hunter with Monster Hunter Stories and Rise, and then they did do the Devil May Cry at one point, Devil May Cry 5. But then it was just like with Resident Evil, it's like they're pumping them out, and it's not like the same thing over and over again like Call of Duty. It's like they're making efforts to make it different a little bit, you know. There's some variety there with their stuff, but if you look at from the beginning of the lockdown times till now, there's been a few Resident Evil games, you know what I'm saying? And then Monster Hunter, it's like I think they came out with like 6 games then, so it's like these are all high profile games. So it's like, I don't know, man, if Insomniac can start doing it on that level as well, then yeah, I could give them GOAT status, but I kind of have to give it to Capcom, man, because it's not even that it's the same thing like maybe Call of Duty or whatever. It's like, nah, 1 minute is Resident Evil in first person, and then Resident Evil in third, and then they'll have Monster Hunter, and then
But I don't think Capcom is exclusive to PlayStation.
yeah, I just mean like just studio status, as in just like
Oh.
like
Well,
stat like
Omniac is really only pumping out 4 PlayStation, right?
yeah,
PC.
but
So
I
I guess
just
that's what make them top
yeah.
tier.
Yeah, I was just meaning just because they're able to pump out more
True.
at Capcom. In my opinion, I know that might be a. I just got a bunch of dislikes just now, but that's fine.
Yeah, if you ask Jim Ryan, he's gonna say it's Activision, but
Activision is probably a lot more widespread. I'm pretty sure there was some more Activision news, and I'm gonna be honest right now, YouTube. I purposely did not want to look it up, and I don't know. So if we didn't cover it, I know it's just because it's kind of annoying at this point. I don't really want to cover it no more. Maybe if there's something else major happen, like we find out that the deal is officially blocked or officially done, like I'll cover that. But like the week to week stuff, it was just like, come on, like we in a very exciting time in gaming where stuff is starting to come out and stuff is starting to like get announced and everything. Like I don't want to talk about the tug of war over Call of Duty. It's just kind of like at some point it's just like let it go. Like I don't know.
yeah,
But
I get you.
yeah, I do.
But also in this world of news, I quickly mentioned, without giving any spoiler, I saw Black Adam.
Yeah, I was gonna say like we gotta bring it back to that real quick because that was supposed to be in the Gotham stuff. But okay,
So
yeah,
Black Adam, it was good. That's
it's
where I'm
good.
gonna leave it. If I talk about more, it'll be
Is it
spoiler.
you should go see it in the theater good, or you should just watch it period good?
I would say you should watch it to period. Do think it is another thing that if you're you're a DC fan, then go see it in the theaters. But if you're just like, I just think I just want to check it out, then you could probably wait a little, before you see it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think there is an appeal for these superhero ones to be on the giant big screen.
Okay, real quick though, I just wanted to mention for what's being shown on the screen, is this how you actually switch characters? From what I just saw, you go up to their costume, and
you go up to their costume and hold X,
and then from that point on, you're on another character there. Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, so the Rock is doing his thing.
Real quick, to get upgraded skills, you need like the little AP points that they have, and because every character gets AP points as you level up, again they say, even though I enjoy his gameplay now, but a lot of people say Red Hood gets better later on. So the idea is you play as other people, and Red Hood just starts stacking those AP points. So then by the time you go to play as him, you can just max out all the good abilities and then play him. Okay. But yeah, so back to Black Adam, it's good. I'm excited for the future of the DC movies. With that in mind, they James Gunn and another guy are now the heads of DC, like how Kevin Feige is for Marvel.
I think also to mention just real quick with it, I guess the news was that everybody's favorite Superman is set to come back for at least one more movie, right? Is it just
Henry
one?
Cavill has said he's going to do another movie. Yep.
And then I think there was a quote or something where Zack Snyder said he can't wait to work with him again or something. I don't know if it's with that.
I did not see that part. I just know that Zack Snyder gave him praise because some fans were like, it was crazy. I was reading. They were like, we want Henry Cavill. We want Henry Cavill. Then they were like, okay, Henry Cavill's coming back. And they're like, without Zack Snyder? No. Like, but, it's out there. But it would be cool if they bring him back. I don't know. But James Gunn is now in charge. So here's where I'm concerned. James Gunn has like Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, The Suicide Squad, Peacemaker. They're good, but they're all a bit comedy injected because it works for those characters. I don't know if I want all of the DC movies to be comedy injected. I like the serious tone.
Yeah, I like to see. I do think Zack was just maybe a little too serious, but
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
but
But I'm
yeah,
interested to see. I like that there's a person in charge. I think that's what we need, and hopefully they don't like they had Zack Snyder in charge, but then they kept butting heads with him, and it's like hopefully they let James Gunn and I cannot remember the other person's name. I'm looking it up, but uh, hopefully they let these two be in charge, like and not just keep jumping. Peter Safran. Hopefully they let James Gunn and Peter Safran be in charge and not also just Warner Bros. Going, but this, but this, but this. Like,
yeah,
don't get in the way. Let them do their thing, and let's see
yeah.
how.
Enough with the checklists. Enough with like every we got to get one person from each category thing. Enough with that.
Yeah,
Just like it needs to match comic book level almost. It has to match that.
yeah,
And
and
then,
just stay consistent with the storytelling. You don't have to like
yeah,
do some of this extra. So we'll see. And it'll be
yeah,
nice if with two people in charge, they can make sure everyone stays consistent with the storytelling, right? Because having a person up front, so every director says, I want to do this, they could be like, you can't because this movie's doing this. You need to twist it a little bit this way. Like, can we make that work? Versus them just having to independently figure it out on their own. With the too many cooks in the kitchen sort of thing. They can stay a little more organized. Also,
yeah.
so Black Adam was supposed to make his way into multiverses around the same time he made his way into the movie theater, and he got delayed, which is weird to me because like they just released Stripe, and I
Yeah.
feel like Gremlins. I guess you were trying to match that with the Halloween season.
Yeah.
However, Black Adam you were trying to match with the movie, and I feel like if Gremlins characters came out in November, no one would really bat an eye versus them being late on the movie that came out in October. So I feel like the focus should have been on making sure Black Adam was ready to go before Stripe when both were announced. Like,
Yeah.
I just think they are like I'm sure people are just when he's there we're ready, but I feel like it would have timed out better if it did come out with the movie.
I will say timing is everything, and it might hurt it because I know for me in a whole nother category, I almost feel like I ran out of time. Technically I didn't as of this recording, but I ran out of time in real life because of work and everything going on to see the movie Halloween Ends before Halloween. And so I'm probably not going to see that until maybe February. I might not see it till February. Yeah, go ahead.
I just saw Halloween Kills finally. I saw Halloween 78, Halloween 20 what was that, 18?
Yeah, 2018. Halloween Kills would have been the sequel then. Yeah.
Yes, I just saw Halloween Kills. So the Evil Dice. Saw that one.
It's so stupid. Are you going to rush out and see the third one, the ending? It's weird.
I'm going to Halloween on Monday.
Oh, you going for Halloween?
It's on streaming services already.
Oh, it is. If it's like that, it's possible I might be able to see it that day, like that night. Like I might could see it that night, but even then, like what I was telling you before, though. But that's when I'm gonna be caught up with all the butter chicken and all of that stuff. But you know what? Maybe I could eat that and watch. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
I have two things I gotta watch that day on Sunday or on Monday because that's it's gonna be Halloween Ends, and then every year I watch the David S. Pumpkins Halloween special.
Oh, okay. I might catch it if it was on streaming services. I might catch it, but
yeah.
I wasn't gonna have enough time to go out there in person, and a lot of times I don't like going out in person. Just like what you said, when it's a bunch of crowds, and I don't got time no more. But yeah, real quick, I do want to say for everybody, thank you for watching. If you've been watching this far or listening, hit the like button. We are at the halfway point, and if you know by now, at the halfway point, I usually put you on game on some games that are considered 100% free to you, and then also maybe some sales that I might highlight that I've seen. So Typically, this is with our unofficial sponsor that probably should have gave us some money by now, though. Because I've been plugging it for sure. I've been plugging it. And you know what? Epic Games, I plan on keeping this as long as y'all keep on doing what y'all doing. So shout out to the Fortnite people. But Epic Games has some free games. And one of them that is free from now to November 3rd is actually a horror game. And it's funny because I remember PS Plus just did like their PS Plus games for November and stuff. There was like no horror games in the middle of any of that. But the first one is called Saturnella. Let me make sure I said that. Saturnella. How do you say this? Look this up, bro. Saturn. It looked like a ghetto girl name. Like it looked like a project girl name. I'm sorry, y'all. It really do. Saturnalia or something. It looked ghetto. I'm sorry.
Is it Saturn with an ALIA on the end, right?
Yeah.
Saturnalia.
Saturnalia. And this is an actual horror game that they're giving away. And so that's available from now, as of this recording, to November 3rd. So hop on it, especially if you want to play it real quick before Halloween is over. And the second one was Warhammer 40,000 Mechanicus. Is that what it say? Mechanicus?
No one calls it 40,000. It's Warhammer 40K.
You know what's funny? I wrote it down as 40K. I wrote it down as 40K to save space on my paper. But I said 40,000.
Yeah.
So both of those are available from now to November 3rd. And also going from November 3rd to November 10th, there's a game called Filament and then Rising Storm 2 Vietnam. And so I'm not sure about those games. I didn't really look into them. I just kind of wrote down the names. But those are from November 3rd to November 10th. So just keep a lookout for those. Those are your 100% free games. And the ghetto name one, you know, that's the that's the horror game technically. So you might, you want to play that as soon as possible, I guess. I don't know. But I think I didn't say it completely. But what I was trying to say earlier is February is my unofficial horror movie month that's like secondary to October, because that's when all of the movies hit DVD, Blu-ray, internet, whatever. And back in the day, me and my co-hosts, we used to go watch some of the scariest films and some of the duds at the same time during that month, and buy like pizza from a local pizza shop and like White Castle and all of that. And so,
was that? What's that movie?
Which one? Paranormal Activity was like a big one. Grave Encounters as well. Paranormal Activity has so many films. I think we had went through all of them. And then there was like all the copycats of those and like copycat exorcisms and stuff. And so like all of those. There's one other thing. You might have more detail on this game, but if anybody out there is a fan of The Witcher or The Witcher series in any way, technically you have the ability to get The Witcher 1, the original PC game, for free on what was the platform? I didn't write it down.
GOG.
On GOG, yes. Thank you for my co-hosts, because I didn't write the full details down. I just wrote that. Oh yeah, you can get that too. But yes, and so they don't need their credit card or debit card there either, do they? Do they just need a profile?
Yeah, I think you just need a profile for GOG, and it's just like it's an online digital distributor, and yeah, they got The Witcher for free.
Now, what's interesting about this one, I think there was news, because there's news that they're going to be doing Witcher 4. But I believe there was news that The Witcher 1 was supposed to be remade. Is that confirmed, or was that just a rumor?
I think that was just thrown out because they already planning on like Witcher 4 and then some side projects from that and a backstory. So I don't think they're doing a remaster.
Okay. So I might have to make a note to go get the old one. I'm playing Witcher 2 technically in my backlog. That's something I want to go back and keep finishing. The Witcher 1, I'm going to be honest, from what I was seeing before, it almost looked unplayable, but it's still free. And I think I'm
Yeah,
going
I will
to.
as well, if you have a GOG account and you have an Amazon Prime account, a lot of times Amazon Prime does a lump of just like games for free,
Yeah.
and a good chunk of them are from GOG as well.
Yeah, it's so crazy. There's so many, when you're on the PC side, there's so many accounts you kind of have just to
Yep.
get all the freebies. And so, yeah, that was the next one. Outside of that, there was a deal that I took advantage of. If you own an Xbox, I guess either 360, Xbox One, or Series X or S, you can get the original Dead Space 2 and Dead Space 3 for like $4 each. And
Oh
so I
wow.
was able to go and grab both of them. The first one, technically, I mean, that one's kind of hot right now, so they didn't drop the price, which kind of makes sense because of the big Dead Space game that is coming out, the remake. But that one is also $15 if you want to play the original Dead Space 1
Okay.
on Xbox. I think it's probably 15 as well on Steam. I didn't check, but at least for Dead Space 2 and 3, you can get those for $4 each. You know, if you just want to play through all the originals real quick to hype you up for the new one, you know, go take advantage of that deal. I don't know. Was there any other deals that you may have caught? There anything that you bought, you know, this past
Steam
week?
has a few games on sale, and I bought XCOM 2,
Okay.
uh, $5
Okay.
because they have a bunch of mods where you can turn them into the Power Rangers.
Nice. Shout out to
Uh,
Power Rangers. Which, if you are watching or listening this far, uh, my co-host is gonna go in a little bit more in depth on Power Ranger ish mods and Power Ranger ish stuff next week. Technically, for us, is in a couple hours because we're actually gonna pre-record that. But for next week, because did you finish Persona 5
yeah, not yet. I
Royal?
finished the base Persona
Okay,
5. I'm still on Royal, like the extra stuff that
right.
Royal.
Now with that, you had the ability to change the outfits of
Whole squad.
everyone.
Whole squad. Yep. All of them are the in-game universe version of Power Rangers. Well,
Yeah,
Feather.
and so my co-host will probably explain a lot more next episode without spoilers, because I'm
Yeah.
technically in the beginning of that too. I've only gotten through like the first like big chapter, I guess. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I am
he
100.
kept playing. He went way further. Me, I was at work. I couldn't do it, unfortunately. But yeah, so I think that's all of the sales news. And then
Yeah.
we'll let a couple of these little mini topics go through before we go through another bigger topic that's like really big.
Yeah.
But
So I have a DC based topic.
sure.
Really super quick, and it's just the two co-founders of Rocksteady are leaving to do a new adventure in games, and they're leaving ahead of the Suicide Squad release.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Hopefully
they
they're
said,
leaving it in good hands, but at the same time, it sounds like, well, you're going to get a whole nother game now.
but that's
Um,
what they said. They said now with Suicide Squad in safe hands, and the
okay.
team here is stronger than ever. It's time to hand over the reins, and they're ready to do something new.
That's what's up. That reminds me of Vince McMahon. But
Yep.
anyways,
A lot of people are saying that they think that this is a sign that the game is bad, and they're trying to get out before it comes out.
oh, see, we
That's
can't
what
have
people.
that attitude until it's actually out there. Don't have that attitude until you see the product and
It's
you
fact. I'm gonna
actually,
take their word for it. They said now that it's in good hands and they
yeah.
got it, we can now go do what we want to do instead. and go have some fun.
See, my optimistic look at that is that now they're probably just polishing it. They've gotten the story down packed. They've gotten the base mechanics and everything down packed. Now they just, they're polishing it. That's how I look at it. I don't want to take the negative route on that.
Exactly.
And then the next thing is just to say, now they're going to work on another game. So after that game or alongside it, you have a whole nother game. So that's how I look at it. Another big thing that I'll mention real quick that's really light is just the game Wulong Fallen Destiny. That was like another Souls-like that was getting a lot of people's attention. There's been a lot of Souls-like games that's been coming out lately. That one has an official release date of 3/3/23, so that's March 3rd, 2023. So I just wanted to mention that. That is a game that I've been paying attention to. Not sure if I'm going to get it immediately, but there's a lot of big releases that's going to be coming out in the first half of 2023 that I want to talk about more next episode. But yeah, so I wanted to mention that Dead by Daylight is getting a comic book. That's more horror related, I guess. But why don't you tell us about that?
Titan Comics, they've done a lot of they'll take an IP and make something like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Batman, and they make graphic novels for them. They're going to be teaming up with Behavior Interactive for making turning some of the in-game story for the Dead by Daylight characters into comic books. So it's definitely something I want to read. So they have the comic will be a prequel story based on the Legion, my favorite character in the game. So this seems like it's going to be fun. And hopefully they continue doing other ones. So it's going to be coming out also March in 2023 for the first issue.
Yeah, that was going to be about as graphic as it gets. I can imagine.
Yes, the Legion is, to me, the coolest character, and a lot of people don't like him. But it was kind of like a play off of Scream. There's 4 people, cool. High schoolers, I guess, dressed as this one killer going all stabby. So, I like it, and I'm interested to see the story behind it. I think that'll be cool.
Yeah, that's a cool new horror story. And speaking of horror stories, possibly another new horror story. But your boy Jordan Peele wants to make a game. Could it be a horror game? Because he's been doing horror movies. So I don't know. What do you think?
I feel like it has to be. It's going to be something psychological. I don't think it's going to be a turn-based Plants vs. Zombies sort of thing. I feel like
what if it's the worst thing that people want? I don't want to be negative after I said all the positive stuff, but I have to think about it. It's what if it's probably remember the game Erica where it's an interactive movie? What if he's still doing a movie, but then it's interactive and you can only get through that movie through the game? What if it's that?
It's still a psychological horror.
Yeah.
If it's not, if it's anything else, it will not work.
Because the funny thing about it is I think people are probably thinking, oh, it's going to be a game. But if you think about it, that's a more realistic approach if he doesn't get funding or whatever. But that sounds like something that would happen from somebody who's in a movie atmosphere. It's they'll record, this is what would happen if you did this or that. Almost like the House of Horror, or not House of Horror. What is it called? Man of Medan. Them house. It might be something like that, maybe.
Dark
but
Pictures
movie. Yeah.
The Dark Pictures. That's what it is. Yeah. I mean, but again, as a horror, it would be cool. But it seems like he's teaming up with Kojima for this.
Oh, if he's teaming up with Kojima, you already know there's a lot of stands out there. So maybe it might be bigger than ever. But maybe it might be a hit. You think it's going to be a hit?
I think it's going to have a very strong fan base. I don't know if it'll be a hit for everybody. I feel like it's going to be one of those, the people who are fans are going to be this is one of the greatest things ever.
Well, if it's not a hit, that might not be good. But speaking of things that didn't have no hits, there was a Elden Ring streamer that beat the game without taking a single hit. Like that transition, that was
nice transition. Yeah, nice transition. But yeah, so an Elden Ring player goes by Gino Machino. Or
Okay.
Machino. He beat all 165 bosses in one run without taking a single hit. So he
Wow.
had to super prepare. You know what that means? He had to prepare. He had to go to each boss and really learn their patterns over and over and over until it's all completely memorized.
From February to now. So
Yep.
yeah, yes, he had a
And
little bit
then
of time.
the game and fight each boss and not take a hit.
Now tell me one
So
more time, how many bosses in total is it?
165.
Ooh-wee, did they give you your money's worth? They give
Yes.
you your money's worth because there were people.
Which
There was so much debacle with this game early on when people just couldn't get past one boss or get past. They couldn't do it. Like yo,
video the other day of people just I don't know why it was this week though. I
yeah,
watched a video of people raging over Elden Ring. And there was
yeah.
just a dude who like got hit, died, grabbed his keyboard, and like you know when they like smash the keyboard against the table?
Mm-hmm.
So he did that, but then he did it again and again and again. And it's like when you get to 4, you're like, all right, dude, like, yeah, he mad. Then he kept going, and you're like, all right, that's enough. Like you can stop now. But he just kept going and just swinging it against the
Yeah,
table. And it's like, homie, calm down. Like, oh, I couldn't break things I paid for that. Like, nah.
yeah. I'm not that type of rage quitter. I would
It was
just
one dude.
walk away.
He held back. He like clenched his fist. He was about to scream, and then he's just air punching towards the camera, and you can tell like in his face, like, he wants to hit something, but everything next to him is way too expensive, so he just like has to take it out.
There
On
was somebody I watched where he punched his chair and the chair kind of fell over. I watched
dang.
somebody who kind of did that. It's kind of funny. But
Some
yeah,
of the guys
Elden
have
Rings.
punching bags, like they have punching bags or like the punching dummy that they can hit that when they're mad. This dude had the punching dummy and he still broke his keyboard.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. No hit. Didn't take a single hit. Even against there's those bosses where there's two. Like there's two of them in the same room and he couldn't get hit by either. And he did it.
Yeah, I remember that two bosses though. That whenever a Souls game has two bosses at the same time, it usually is like peak difficulty for me.
Yeah.
Um, I had like when I was playing Cold Vein, that was like the peak difficulty in the game. I don't even know if I have that footage. I might still have it because I don't think I showed it on here yet. So it'll come up
Mine wasn't
eventually.
even bosses. In
Yeah.
Neo, it was just two armored enemies that did not attack in any sort of like rhythmic pattern. It would just swing. So like as I'm dodging one, I end up rolling into the hit of another. Man, that junk was frustrating.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, Elden Ring streamer beat the game with no hits. No
Yeah.
hits. Yeah. Sometimes, having no hits is not a good thing though. Like if you was a musician and you ain't had no hits, that might not be a good thing. You know? Or if you was a TV show and you had no hits, that might not be a good thing, right? Speaking of TV shows that don't have hits, you know what I'm gonna say. So I wanted to avoid this on camera for so many times or on air, but I guess we'll mention it because I guess G4 TV is officially gone. I didn't watch when I was younger. I didn't.
I
It
did.
was not me, but you did. But
I
do they
watched this.
deserve it? Do you think they deserve it? Tell me about it, man. What's going on?
All right. So I watched as a kid. And it was cool, like watching some gameplay. This is how I got my gaming news. And in my head, like, you weren't really just gonna be Googling gaming news and everything because
Yeah.
as a kid, the internet was slow. So this was showing my age. But like this was my way of getting gaming news or seeing people play games. You didn't have streamers
Yeah.
like doing this and everything. So that is part of their downfall. It's like there's a lot of competition. You got people who are consistently funny playing the games that they like with a community. Like it's Real 85,
Everybody. Everybody.
everybody.
I'm trying to do it. I'm spending too much money
Yep.
as it is. Everybody.
And then like it's like, okay, well, why watch G4 when you get to pick who you want to see? Right?
Right, right,
So
right.
there's that, and then you can look up the gaming news on your own. We're telling gaming news. and everything. So you can watch the podcast you want to hear for gaming news. So it is like really difficult to like justify G4 if they're not just compiling all of these popular people on one channel, because all these other people are more popular. Now,
Yeah.
I would like to say the last G4 thing I saw was the meltdown, right? And I won't go into too much detail on
honestly, I think that might have been the first for me. Maybe for a whole generation of people, that might have been the one thing, and then ended up being the only thing you could remember for them for some people, because that's where it is for me.
Like, and there's a lot of issues with that too, because it's just like the things that were being complained about were the things that was hyped up in the older days. So it's like it's your fault for setting that precedent. However, because like as a kid when I was watching for gaming news. She just happened to be there. Like I didn't ask her to be there. She just happened to be there. So
but you know what? People were calling them out recently as being hypocrites because they still did like that type of content after the fact with that one streamer. I don't want to mention her name, but you already know. Some of y'all already know, and like they you know, had their rant. That was their big boom moment, and it was such a loaded thing in itself because they were shielding. It was, you know, it's kind of political to say this, but they used it as a shield because the only reason that the girl took criticism to begin with was because she was spreading misinformation. Anybody who was a real gamer who paid attention, it was just she was saying certain things that she knew what she was talking about. To me, it came off goofy. I didn't really think nothing of it because it was like, well, you know, just like what you said, you follow your outlets, so you're going to be informed with whatever, you know.
And I think that was the main issue. Like, there's so many other places you can get that gaming stuff from.
And so she was called out on it, and then just like used it as ammunition. And then did her speech and became a whole thing, and they made it sound it was so cringe, especially with old boy clapping through the TV and stuff. It was just so cringe.
And let's remember, in her speech, she said, "If you don't like it, don't watch."
Yeah,
and everybody in the comments said, "I bet," and then now they got shut down again.
I just remember they doubled down on Twitter where they was just like I think they said like we are following you or something. Like I forgot the girl. Like they said something like we stand up for you or something, and they tagged her. And afterwards, she just basically, well, people, I don't know how many people was paying attention, but she basically just went on Twitter and just argued with people as if she was like a random fanboy or fangirl. Just arguing with people about the most random stuff every day. I was like, you're supposed to be representing, and you on TV, you're supposed to be on a certain statue, but you arguing with the crumb side of Twitter over fanboy stuff. Like people just talking, like somebody would say something slick to her or whatever. It was like, but you had a certain statue, like you're not supposed to just respond to the common man. And I guess she just didn't understand that. And it was over and over and over again. And then I remember right before they shut down, they had their whole thing. Because this was stuff I didn't really want to mention, I remember. But I guess we could say it real quick. Because I remember they had their big layoff. You remember that? It was like a big layoff. Yes. And then she went on Twitter and was just like, I survived. I think that was her tweet. And then like, that's when she was the one who was fired, like I guess a week later or something, and then they announced that they was officially closed. But it was just like, it was a hot mess. It was just a hot mess. The whole thing was a hot mess. All you had to do was just simply be honest. Like you got something wrong. But in the beginning of her speech, I remember her like telling the audience or the camera, like somebody writes their script. And I don't know if that went over people's head because of the whole rest of the speech afterwards, but if that's the case, then it's kind of even more disingenuous. So you didn't know what you was talking about and you didn't question it. So you basically played a part, and so you know different than all the people that I don't like, where they just kind of just play a part and you don't even play nothing. It's like you don't gotta have every game. It's just like you played Gotham Knights and I'm not playing it yet. It's like you don't have to play every game, but you gotta
Right.
at least play something. There's gotta be something that you play. You know what I'm saying? Like you in this
Oh,
footage
I
right now
agree.
is you and me playing this game. This is Division 2 for anybody out there who's not who didn't know, right? And it's like,
Oh,
okay, we're both playing this, but like for some of those people who call themselves having hot takes, who call themselves writing articles and stuff, like a lot of them literally just don't play nothing. That's
yeah.
just like when we talked about the website where I'll say IGN, when they had like certain people play certain games and you look at the footage because they were supposed to show gameplay footage and you look at it and you'd be like why are they playing like that? It's almost like they don't even know how to aim a gun. Like they don't know how to crouch. They don't know how to react. It's like for
Yep.
something like a first person shooter, you mean to tell me you don't have enough experience at all just to play that? Like really? So yeah, she got caught out and she deflect and it costs they double down on it as a whole and it cost them.
Uh-huh. Sure did.
It cost them. So
So when they revive it again, it's gonna be me and you, man. We gotta run G4.
I I would rather say let's
Or
become the new G4. Let's like you can make your own platform bigger than other platforms. Like already YouTubers were bigger. There are certain streamers were bigger than that
yeah.
platform anyway. So yeah, I didn't really want that to go that long, but it was canceled. So good riddance, I guess. I don't know why it came back when you look at the details, but yeah, that's it for that. But speaking of canceling, this is my last mini topic before the bigger topic. There was a cancellation, a censorship. I don't know if you're aware of this, but I guess we could speak on this real quick. It's kind of funny to me, but maybe not too funny for our Japanese gamers out there, because apparently Callisto Protocol has been canceled in Japan. Did you know this?
Whoa, what? Whoa.
They were
Yo.
canceled because they refused to censor the game. And Japan is not happy with the over excessive gore or violence, probably. It's like the only thing I can go off of is what we've seen in the trailers. Maybe they've seen the whole game and there's something else there that we haven't seen yet. But it's too much for the Japan audience, apparently. And so
Oh,
Callisto is
does the Japan audience agree that it's too much for the Japan audience?
it don't look like it's it looks like it's whoever is like, yo, we're not putting this in our stores or on our, we're not putting it on our soil. It's not coming on our land. So the
Oh.
gamers are going to have to do some importing, which is interesting because like I said, it's kind of funny because back in the PS2 era especially, there was a lot of games that came out that were actually Japan exclusive and territory exclusive that you really had to import a Japanese system as well as the games just to play those
Oh.
games. And so now, at least for this, you might see the reverse. Maybe somebody has to import, you know, an American PS5 or Xbox, or maybe they can still figure. They'll probably have a back way of doing it on PC. You know, maybe they can just pirate it, get it that way. But other than that, it cannot be sold in Japan. At least right now. Maybe that might change tomorrow. Maybe I don't have all the details correct, but that's what I saw. There were multiple reports. So yeah, man,
Wow.
it's we had a situation like that here. Wasn't it a horror game? Like it wasn't fully banned, but on PlayStation
Censored.
they censored one of the horror games because they was cutting the girl face off while she was dead. Which game was that?
Yes. Ooh, great question.
I don't
Let's
know,
find
but yeah. So if you have the PlayStation version, you don't get to see that part or do that part. But if you have it on PC or Xbox, you can. And it was because they felt like it was too graphic.
Martha is dead. Martha is
Martha
dead.
is dead. Yeah. And so apparently, because I never heard a report that Martha was dead. Was Japan was banned in Japan, right? So
Me neither.
by just doing a little bit of, logical conclusion, I would say Callisto Protocol is going to be more graphic than Martha is Dead, a game where you cut somebody's face off. So,
Yikes.
I look forward to seeing what that's going to be about. But yes, if you are in Japan, I guess if you have access to PC, maybe you can, do some workarounds, or you probably have to import a whole system or something. I don't know. How you feel about that? You think that's right? You think that's bad? I don't know. Maybe is it political? I guess it might be political. I don't know. But
unless I only think a game should not be made if it's like heavily promoting the obvious evils of the world, right? So like, just the bad stuff where it's like, dude, why would you even do something like that?
Yeah.
But not if it's just like, oh, that's a little too violent. It's like, no, just slap a rating on there and carry on. And I feel like, come on, Japan. Y'all got straight up games where you're just a creep on a train, and that's fine. But this isn't. Like, I feel no. You ban games that are like clearly, yes, this should not be. How could someone even think to make something like that? You get rid of those.
Yeah.
Right. That will clearly incite horrible behavior. Like, there's no way around it. Not this. This is just it's gory. It's supposed to be gory. Like, relax. You're fine.
I don't know.
Oh, look at if you slap a stronger rating on something, yeah. Like, really make sure people know what they're getting themselves into getting it. But to straight up say, like, no, you can't have it, like, to me, that's weird.
But you know what, man? Maybe they need somebody else in charge over there. Maybe somebody else has to step in and take over and make some changes, man.
And who do you think? Because I feel like this is your transition.
This is my transition because somebody jumped in and they took over Twitter. Yes. Elon Musk is officially head of Twitter, and he's already made some changes. Apparently, he went in there and fired everybody at the top. And he is apparently reversing some permanent bans. One of them happens to be Kanye West, hilariously. And then he also got some threats coming from top ad revenue, because apparently he's also rumored to be reversing the ban of a former president that I don't even know if I should mention because of the algorithms. And some of the peoples out there is not happy about that. And so he might get some pushback, and I don't know. It might hurt his revenue. But yes, he is now officially a part of Twitter. So I guess, any thoughts on that? I wanted that to be brief. Any thoughts on that?
No, like, I mean, it's a weird thing to just buy. I do feel like I'm all for, freedom of speech, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But like, if what you say does consistently incite violence, then it's like, yo, watch what you're saying. Like you're just as guilty as, like, to me, other people.
Yeah.
So them banning stuff, I'm more on like people. It's just like, if you don't want to see it, block it. Like, that's the easier thing to do than to straight up just be like, you're not allowed on here. But at the same time, I just feel like it was a big waste of money to purchase Twitter. But do you? If that's what you feel like you want to do.
Yeah, but if we remember, I think he tried to moonwalk that, and I guess he was about to get sued, and so he kind of got forced back into it in a way. I don't know what was going on, but it was pretty silly. But yeah, he's officially a part of that. People are threatening him and saying he's going to lose a lot of revenue for Twitter if he unbans a couple people. But yeah,
Yeah.
we can keep that brief. Speaking of platforms that lost a lot of revenue, Facebook. Oh yes, I have to mention this because this just makes my day. So Facebook this week, one day, I think they lost about 24 or 25. I think the report was 24%. They lost
Oh,
24% of their money in one day.
wow.
It went down in one
A lot.
day.
That is a fourth of money. That's a lot of
Um,
money.
so that kind of happened in the stock market. So the stock market dropped by 24% in one day. And I believe um, within the past year, Facebook or Meta, I guess we should say is Meta. Meta has lost now over $130 billion within the past year.
Whew.
Um, yes, I don't know. All that metaverse stuff, I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna need them to sell that Oculus. Go ahead and sell that. I don't care who buys. Somebody buys it. Microsoft. Microsoft, when this deal, this Activision thing is over, please buy Oculus from Facebook. Please, just strip them, and let that platform fall. Yes, yes.
Want them gone.
They. This is. I'm dancing. Can y'all see me? Y'all can't see me. I'm dancing right now. No, I'm not dancing. I'm just sitting here. But yes, Facebook took a hit. Facebook has been dying lately. They have not been able to recover. Yeah, but the 25% or 24% one day was a big hit. I guess that was earlier this week. Yeah, and we can move on. But I don't really have a big segue for this. I just feel like this is going to be our last topic because it was technically a last topic, either episode or 2 episodes ago. And I feel like we need to address this. I want to talk about Bayonetta, the game, or the situation behind the game. The game is officially out right now. You can go and buy it right now. If you just wanted to play the game for itself and escape from everything else that was going on with it and just play it, enjoy it. You may have played 1 and 2 recently just to catch up or something. I actually own 1 and 2. I don't own 3 yet. I do still want to play 3. Even with all the stuff that was happening, I kind of still wanted to play. I was just going to be quiet about it. You probably just wasn't going to see no footage or nothing. But we ended off one of those episodes, I think it was 2 weeks ago, saying that she was heavily that she, as in the main actress, I don't remember her name. So many people have made a mockery of her face and everything on their thumbnails. I do think that's a little disrespectful and it's not really as classy, but I understand to an extent, liars are liars, and technically she's a liar here. And I think I did make a short. I made a short where I was negative towards her. That was another short where my feedback was they let me know they don't like me being as negative as I was. But the main thing that I said was that it was a hot mess. It just felt like it was a hot mess to me. It was another one of those situations similar to G4. It's like, what are we doing? Like, what is going on? So she originally said that they
Helena
was,
Taylor.
yes. So she was saying that they were only going to pay her $4,000 total. Like, that's what we thought initially, that it was just $4,000. Now, after the episode went out, I think within 24 to 48 hours later, the news ended up being a whole nother thing. It was like, no, it actually was like a little bit more. It wasn't too much more.
It was. He said 4,000 for the full thing. They said 3,000 to 4,000 per session, and it was going to be about 5 sessions.
Yeah.
So 15 to 20,000 is what they were saying, and she was saying they were only offering 4,000.
Right, and so if you look at it on both ways, would you like? I still feel like maybe she would have still been considered underpaid for what you would consider a AAA studio, or at least with the Nintendo stamp on it, you know? Like,
Uh-huh.
because if it's 5 sessions total, so that's 20 grand, right?
Yep.
4,000. So it wasn't 4 grand, it was 20
15 to
grand.
20. It was
15
15
to
to
20.
20.
So it still kind of sounds low,
Here's my thing. Yep.
but
So some people are calling out because you kept saying it was a $450 million thing, and everybody's like,
mhm.
"Where's she pulling that money from?" Because they're saying it's still a niche thing. But you got to remember, it's Bayonetta is like part of that revenue comes from Smash Bros. Because she's a character in there, so she's doing a voice in there. Bayonetta 1, Bayonetta 2, and all of the like appearances and like any other merchandise that comes from Bayonetta. All right, and if they're making it to game 3, then they do have like a strong following. Uh
Well, it took him
Enough
some time, I
that
guess. I don't know.
it takes some time, but yeah, like, but that's Nintendo. But like at the same time, it feels like I don't know. I still feel like that is a low ball amount for the head person of your like voice act. Like she's not a new voice actress. Like she is the head person for this character. She is the character, and you're still to be offered. That's way too little to be offering. Like once you're like game 3 and like you're at the top, like that's how I don't know. In my head, I also think it's like for the Mario movie, like they ain't offer Chris Pratt
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think I had
3,000.
mentioned all of that. But the
Yeah, and
biggest thing though here is that she was lying though. It was still like if she had said that from the get go, it still sounds low, but it would have been more truthful.
yeah,
It wouldn't have sounded like she tried to defame the
yep.
the studio or whatever.
But then again, 4,000 and then 4,000 per session,
Yeah.
right? Like 5 sessions, it's still 4,000. But she did lie. She bent it to
So
make it sound worse than what it was.
technically,
Like,
if we
it was
look
still
at it like the better skilled she is, the least amount of money she would have made. Because what if she like killed it like first take, like she just killing it, and it's like
true.
okay, then we don't need no more sessions there. You only need like one
Yeah,
or two. You don't need 5 sessions,
there
so
you
that
go.
means you
8,000.
get paid less. It's, so it's like oh she got to slur a couple words just to like get the time to keep going. Like she gotta she gotta
Jeez.
play the system or something. But I don't know. Like I just kind of felt like you shouldn't have lied because it's still we would have still been on your side if you was
Oh,
truthful. But it just like now like it was almost like she got egg on her face a little bit because I didn't watch that many videos, but I saw the internet wasn't too kind. Basically, everybody who had channels and stuff, they freely used her face on it. They freely used like, because even with the clip that I made initially, I didn't put her face out there. I just put the face of the Bayonetta character when I made a clip of the last podcast. Because I was like,
yeah.
okay, this is hot news, so I'll put it out the day after. But then I felt like I had egg on my face, and so I went and I did do my short where I called her a hot mess, because I felt like why are you lying? I was mad for a second. I'm like, I wanted to say ghetto. I was like, you ghetto, you straight ghetto. That's what I initially said, but I was like, yeah, that's gonna be too hot. People gonna be like, nah, don't say that. They gonna be disliking me. And so I didn't say ghetto. I was just like, this is just a hot mess, and you're gonna get what's coming to you because you lied. And
Right.
yeah, it was still negative, but that was just my whole thing. It's just like, don't lie. Like we still would have been on your side, but it made it look worse because now going forward, she's really going to be blackballed. Because I remember we had a conversation. I think was like, is this going to blackball her? It's
Uh-huh.
one thing for it to blackball you because you would have broke MDA and put that information out there. It's another thing to be blackballed, or it's another thing to lie about it. It's like now you
Right.
really are going to be blackballed because it's like this is her biggest hit. What other games was she in that where we look at her the same way you would look at like, okay, this is definitely Troy Baker or something. It's like you know who he
Nothing
is,
I
but
noticed.
yeah, but like I don't recognize her voice. It's not the same thing as like me recognizing Samuel L. Jackson's voice when he played Tenpenny, I think, in San Andreas. Like I knew who that voice was. I recognized the game's voice in there. You know what I mean? Like I don't.
Like, it's all mini stuff. Like really, it was Bayonetta, and then she's done a bunch of little things.
Yeah, but see now,
Things like that.
ain't nobody gonna take you.
Bayonetta.
Yeah, that's it. Like that's it. That's it. Cause so, yeah, I just wanted to mention it. It don't have to be that long, but it's just like, yeah, that to me. The most I'll say, it was just a hot mess. It really was. It was a hot mess. It probably should have never happened. I don't know if it came out. Do we know how much the replacement person is making?
Oh, she ain't saying nothing.
She ain't say she playing her part, and you know what's crazy? She'll be on to the next game. The other person, she gonna show up for work and do what she has to do.
And even then, if brand new, those are like that's a pretty much nice payday for a brand new person.
Yeah,
and acting thing. It is not good, I think, for a seasoned person. So I still stand with saying it was a lowball amount. I do think Helena, like, if you were going to break the NDA and do all of that stuff and really call them out, you got to be truthful with the numbers. You can't look like that. Like that ruined your whole argument. But I do think she should have been paid more, but, like, she done messed up.
Yeah, it didn't make a lot of sense, but it was like let's say there was voice acting in Among Us, right? If somebody paid her $4,000 to voice act in Among Us, and then Among Us takes off like 2 years later or whatever, I can understand her being bitter, but it would have made a little bit more sense because it would have been like indie, nobody heard of it. It didn't even take off for a year or two. It was like we were more on her side because it was like, well, Bayonetta is like getting the exclusive stamp under Nintendo. So it's a much bigger deal and it's considered first party Nintendo. So yeah, $4,000 doesn't sound that much. But then it's like, okay, it's not really 4. It's like, I think it might have been more than that 22 though. Like, I think there was more news because somebody else really big covered this story. And it made it sound like it might have been more than that, but I don't know. The most that I would say though, because we don't even have to go on all the details. It's just like you lied and now you're paying for it. Basically, you're paying for it with your career at this point. So for anybody out there, the moral of the story: don't lie, don't be truthful. You know, and you'll have a long-lasting career. Because even if the other girl is being not blackballed, if the other girl is being like lowballed, whoever replaced her, I think it was actually a big time actress too. I forgot all the details, but like the game is out, right? That girl who right now, that lady is doing voice acting, I'm assuming, for the next one, or in talks at the very least, right? Because Bayonetta's already out, but this Bayonetta actress is not. She's sitting at home, the Twitter fingers basically, right? So yeah, don't let this be you out there. Do not badmouth your companies on Glassdoor and all of that. Like, I know y'all be liking to do that. I read some of them, but it's like that won't get you anywhere, especially if they could trace it back to you. And be careful with your jobs, like interviews, like not interviews. What they have them surveys where like log into this survey. Don't worry, they're not gonna know you said it. Like, okay, yeah, be careful with what you say on there. All right, don't go into your job survey and then write bad stuff about your job and you had to log into it and you on their servers. You know what I'm saying? They can pinpoint you in any kind of way if you really on there saying something wild. So don't let that be you. That's all I got to say. We can wrap up this edition. Is there anything else you want to say on Bayonetta, or is there anything we missed? I don't think we missed anything.
On Bayonetta, nah.
All right. So I'll be truthful. We're going to pre-record the next episode. You will get that next week. There's some stuff on there I want to talk to y'all about regarding the most super niche, super nerdy fanboys out there who love Power Rangers. I got big news on there about Power Rangers I'm going to talk about in the next episode. I'm going to talk about more game systems that I bought on the next episode. And I'm also going to talk about my co-host is going to talk about a personal game of the year for him on that episode. Many, many more. We're going to record it in about 10 minutes. Hit the like button. Thank you for watching this episode. I will apologize for not putting anything out this week. I was very busy with work. They had my schedule all screwed up. It's back in order. I am actually planning on recording like 4 or 5 videos tomorrow. So y'all go get something. I'm going to release one of them at least next week, leading up to the next episode. And other than that, man, be excited about gaming. We got so much stuff that's coming out because we're in the holiday season time. We're in Black Friday time. Y'all need to be preparing and get your wallets ready. And yeah, that's all I got to say. And don't forget to wash the back of your ears. Was there anything you was going to say? I don't know. Did I cut you off?
You did. It's all good. We can save it.
You going to save it? You got to watch the next episode to hear what he was going to say. Or unless he going to say it right now.
I'm going to say it right now.
You got to wait. You got to wait a whole week.
So, I mean, it's a sad thing, but like, I don't want to like save the sad stuff for the next one. Right?
Oh, yeah, so, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Raiko Kodama. She was like the first lady of RPG, mega like Sega developer, an artist for like a lot of stuff, and helped inspire a lot of female developers as well and gamers as well. She passed away, so rest in peace.
Yeah. I'm so sorry to hear about that. Rest in peace to her. Rest in peace to G4 TV. Rest in peace to the Bayonetta actresses' career. And we are out. That's not bad. That was bad. That was bad.
Yo, what?